After her boyfriend broke up with her, she decided to treat herself to some of his crypto. This lady was tired of seeing Gen Z booty cheeks, so she decided to take matters into her own hands. This annoying influencer was caught filming without permission, and this guy was caught faking everything on camera. Let's get right to the people we love to kick out of society. Starting with number 6, a love for crypto. 26-year-old Anthony Bravo's 6-month romance took a disastrous turn when his ex-girlfriend, Maissa Jebali, allegedly stole over $850,000 in TrumpCoin from him and racked up thousands of dollars in charges on his credit card. Now she's in ICE custody, facing deportation after overstaying her visa. But if she's sent back to Tunisia, she could take every stolen dollar with her, leaving Bravo powerless to stop it. Anthony Bravo met 22-year-old Maissa Jebali at a Miami lounge, and their relationship quickly became a whirlwind of lavish yacht cruises and high-end shopping. But as it goes in relationships, they ended up getting into a heated argument on his yacht, and things took a turn. According to Bravo, they discussed breaking up, and at some point, he fell asleep, only to wake up and find Jebali gone, along with $850,000 worth of his crypto. Apparently, Jebali somehow unlocked his phone while he slept and transferred the funds from his account to hers before disappearing. The next morning, when he checked his accounts to discover the missing crypto, he found more unauthorized charges, including a $4,000 Airbnb stay and a $14,000 shopping spree. So Bravo hired private investigator David Bolton to track her down, which he very quickly did, finding Jebali at a hotel in Miami. So Miami police arrested her and charged her with grand theft and credit card fraud. Jebali, however, had a different version of events. When confronted by police, she apparently said Bravo was a loser and said he had given her permission to use his credit card as she pleased. She admitted to booking the Airbnb without telling him, but insisted she believed she had every right to access his funds, likely because he had allowed her to use his card in the past. But then immigration authorities got involved. As an immigrant from Tunisia who overstayed her visa, Jebali was now transferred to ICE custody, where she faces deportation under expedited removal laws. If deported, she could end up leaving the country with the stolen crypto, leaving Bravo with little recourse. According to Bolton, despite overwhelming evidence, authorities hadn't filed the appropriate charges to prevent her from being deported with access to the stolen funds. Congressman Carlos Antonio Jimenez has stepped in, attempting to delay the deportation until Bravo can recover his assets. As of the release of this video, Jebali has pleaded not guilty to the charge. Meanwhile, Bravo is left hoping for some sort of resolution, fearing that if she's deported, his money will be gone for good. Bravo's situation shows the risk of trusting too much in a fast-moving, short-term relationship, especially when it involves money and access to personal accounts. If Jebali is sent back to Tunisia, she could very well walk away with nearly $1 million, leaving Bravo with no recourse. Granted, Bravo shouldn't have tried so hard to impress a short-term girlfriend by giving her that much access to his wealth, so in a sense, he's partially to blame. But at the end of the day, he was just a guy who liked a girl and wanted to impress her, and she took full advantage of that, and apparently had an entitled attitude about it. This case also shows how strange the legal system can be. Jebali is facing criminal charges, yet instead of being held accountable, she might be deported before she ever sees a courtroom. It's almost like the law is giving her an escape route, just not one she planned. If she leaves the country with the stolen funds, Bravo won't just be out of luck. It'll feel like the system itself helped her get away with it. Number 5. Assault on the eyes. 49-year-old Ida Lorenzo boldly decided she needed to take a stand on public decency at a restaurant in St. George, Utah. So she did this by yanking down on some young woman's skirt. But to her surprise, she wasn't hailed as the morality police she thought we needed. Instead, Lorenzo went viral for all the wrong reasons, got fired, and found herself in court facing real consequences. Ida Lorenzo confronted some 19-year-old woman at a restaurant in an incident that was partially caught on video. The footage, posted to TikTok, showed Lorenzo berating some young woman, complaining about having to see too much of her booty cheeks and threatening to call Child Protective Services. At one point, She appeared to even flash a badge, claiming to be a state employee. Witnesses, including the victim, said that Lorenzo had approached the woman from behind and pulled her skirt down, as in forcibly adjusting it, not like pulling it all the way down. The young woman described feeling Lorenzo's cold hands against her skin and said that the incident left her feeling understandably violated. 7 other witnesses provided statements supporting her account. Following the widespread attention online, Lorenzo contacted police, saying she felt her life was threatened due to backlash. She insisted she had only touched the skirt, not the young woman herself, and argued that the clothing was inappropriate for a public setting with children present. 2 days later, the victim reported the incident to police, and Lorenzo was promptly arrested. After her arrest, she was fired from her position as a legal secretary for the Utah Attorney General's office, where apparently her badge was from, with a termination letter citing her failure to meet employment standards. Lorenzo was also charged with a Class A misdemeanor for inappropriate physical contact, which carries a maximum penalty of up to 1 year in jail and a fine of up to $2,500. However, under a plea agreement, the charge was reduced to a Class B misdemeanor. She entered a plea in abeyance, meaning no sentence will be imposed if she meets court requirements for a year. She must avoid committing new crimes, have no contact with the victim, and undergo a mental health evaluation. By the way, don't forget to click that subscribe button and make sure you also click the bell to turn on all notifications so you don't miss any critical knowledge to defend yourself. Anyway, given that this happened in St. George, Utah, of all places, it's not surprising. St. George is known for being extremely conservative. It's also in the middle of the desert, about 90 minutes from Vegas, meaning that in the summer, when this happened, it's unbearably hot. The point is, it's not unreasonable for young women to wear short skirts at that time. But there's a fine line between a short skirt and an inappropriately short skirt, and one that just doesn't meet the standards of St. George fashion and modesty police. That said, no matter how right Lorenzo thought she was, and even if this isn't necessarily one of those cases where she was right, we've all seen what she was freaking out about before. She still had no right to put her hands on someone else over it. She probably didn't deserve to lose everything she did, but let's be honest. People like this are just annoying, and no one really needs them. Number 4, an old-fashioned switcheroo. Authorities in Idaho say they've cracked down on a self-checkout scam that took scamming arts and crafts to a new level. Police say 32-year-old Dylan Rockwell devised an unusual scheme to trick Walmart scanners, using a homemade ring embedded with a barcode for a can of soup. Apparently, Rockwell had been running the scam for a while, swapping out the price of expensive items for a mere 70 cents, the cost of great value tomato condensed soup, which on its own is kind of funny. The store was probably like, wow, we're really having a great run on the great value tomato condensed soup. Look at those sales. People must love this stuff. We've made like $20 off the stuff. Anyway, the scam worked well, but then Rockwell got a little bit greedy and flew a little too close to the sun. He tried to use his custom soup ring to scan a $300 grill, as if that wasn't going to get noticed. The self-checkout trick worked by waving the ring over the scanner, fooling the machine into thinking Rockwell was purchasing a cheap can of soup instead of whatever the high-priced item was actually in his cart. It's unclear how many times he successfully pulled off this scam, but police say Rockwell admitted to using the method multiple times before finally getting caught. Police were called to the scene after Walmart employees noticed suspicious activity at the registers. By the time officers arrived, Rockwell had already left the store, but they quickly tracked him down at his home, roughly 25 miles away. Inside his residence, officers recovered the stolen grill and questioned Rockwell, who confessed to using his homemade barcode ring in previous thefts. As of the release of this video, Rockwell is facing a felony burglary charge, proving that even the most inventive scams eventually catch up with the people behind them. While Rockwell's scheme was no doubt creative, scams like this ultimately hurt everyone. Retail theft isn't just a problem for stores. It drives up prices for honest customers who are already dealing with high costs. Businesses compensate for losses by raising prices, meaning everyone pays more because of a few who think they can game the system. It's good that scammers like this get caught. because the last thing we need is higher prices thanks to people trying to cheat their way through self-checkout. Number 3. The unsavory migrant. Authorities in New York have arrested Nicole Suarez, a migrant from Colombia, who's a suspect in connection with an alleged incident with a 14-year-old boy in a bathroom. And yes, it's the kind of incident you're thinking of. And yes, it was forced. According to law enforcement sources, the incident occurred at a bodega across the street from Thomas Jefferson Park in New York. The suspect, 30-year-old Nicole Suarez, who identifies as a woman, allegedly followed the boy into the store's bathroom before the incident took place. Afterward, the victim managed to seek help from bystanders, who then alerted the police. Suarez was taken into custody the following day and was charged. The thing was, Suarez was already wanted in both New Jersey and Massachusetts and had an active detainer from ICE, but the details of the out-of-state charges haven't been disclosed. The point is, they should have been locked up. An ICE detainer is a request from local law enforcement to hold someone so federal authorities can take them into custody for immigration violations or pending charges. However, New York City's policies limit cooperation with ICE, meaning local agencies often release individuals instead of handing them over. Supporters of these policies say they protect immigrant communities from fearing law enforcement, while critics argue they allow dangerous individuals to remain free. In this case, Suarez had active warrants in 2 states and an ICE detainer, but was still in the community, raising concerns about whether these policies put public safety at risk. Prosecutors initially sought $500,000 in bail and a $1.5 million bond, but the presiding judge reduced it to $100,000 bail or a $250,000 bond for whatever unknown reason. However, as of the release of this video, Suarez remains in custody at Rikers Island. The issue here is that a failure in the system allowed someone with an active ICE detainer and outstanding warrants in multiple states to remain free, leading to this terrible act. There are strong opinions on both sides, but at the core, this is about public safety. The priority should always be preventing known offenders, regardless of background or identity, from having the opportunity to harm others and ensuring they are kept away from society. Number 2. Uncommissioned filming. A social media influencer with over 1 million followers is under investigation in Australia after allegedly filming a woman without their consent and posting the videos online. The TikToker, known only as Syed or It's Polo Kid, sees himself as a pickup artist and had been secretly recording interactions with women in public across Sydney and Melbourne using some Meta Ray-Ban smart glasses. These sunglasses resemble regular sunglasses, making it difficult for those videoed to realize they're being recorded, and apparently, Syed was exploiting that for content. Syed's videos often showed him approaching unsuspecting women and attempting to flirt with them. In one, captioned, "Hitting on beauties in Bondi Beach," #confident, he compliments a woman in a bikini before she turns him down. Many of the women featured in his videos were unaware they were being recorded while he was hitting on them, and have since asked him to take down the footage. Tanaya J., one of the women he recorded, said Syed blocked her when she requested the video's removal and noted that he has done the same to others who objected to being featured in his content. Other residents of Sydney's eastern suburbs have also taken notice of Syed's behavior, with warnings circulating on community pages. A woman named Louise McFadden talked about the extent of the issue, pointing out that some victims only discovered they had been videoed when friends from overseas recognized them in the videos. She emphasized that these recordings spread widely, with millions of views across TikTok and Instagram. In New South Wales, secretly recording someone, especially with hidden cameras or surveillance devices, can carry a penalty of up to 5 years in prison, particularly if it involves capturing private conversations without permission. While filming in public is generally allowed, the problem is covert recordings are illegal in many places and can have serious legal consequences. In this case, authorities are investigating whether Syed's use of smart glasses violated laws against covert recordings. NSW police have confirmed they're looking into a possible breach of Listening Devices Act after a woman filed a report, though no further details have been released. And despite public backlash, Syed hasn't responded to the controversy or defended his actions in any way. However, as of the release of this video, he has been permanently banned from TikTok for violating community guidelines by secretly filming women without their consent. The minute those Ray-Bans came out, we all knew it was only a matter of time before someone started using smart glasses like this in a creepy way. With how easily technology can be misused, it's no surprise that influencers are now misusing it to invade privacy for content. And perhaps the worst part is that social media often rewards this kind of behavior with views and engagement, encouraging more of the same. At this point, it feels like only about 5% of influencers are even remotely likable anymore. The rest seem to thrive on being obnoxious, exploitative, or outright disrespectful. Can we please just get rid of them? Number 1. The phony trip. Bronx resident Felix Del Aguia attempted to sue a grocery store, claiming he was injured in a fall. It was a classic slip and fall scam, but it fell apart almost immediately for one of the dumbest reasons possible. He did it right in front of security cameras. De La Guia walked down an aisle in a fine fare supermarket, grabbed some bottled water, and suddenly collapsed in front of an elderly couple as dramatically as possible. He clutched his back, wincing in pain as store employees rushed to help him. Something about the fall didn't sit right with store manager Giovanni Perez, so he went and checked the security footage, and his suspicions were confirmed. There had been no spill until De La Guia himself poured water on the floor moments earlier. The entire accident had been staged. Despite leaving without requesting medical assistance or calling authorities, De La Guia's lawyer sent a notice saying that he intended to pursue a personal injury claim. However, once the lawyer became aware of the video evidence, he quickly dropped the case. Supermarket owner Miguel Luna refused to let the scam slide. Since a lawsuit would impact his insurance costs, he was determined to expose the fraud. He also worried about the broader impact, knowing schemes like this drive up prices for both businesses and customers. Holding De La Guia accountable, he rightly believed, would help prevent similar scams in the future. This wasn't De La Guia's first attempt at a slip and fall lawsuit. Back in 2017, he claimed to have been injured in a key food supermarket, leading to an out-of-court settlement. The store owner, Pedro Guaco, also explained how these scams inflate insurance premiums, and his skyrocketed from $35,000 to $160,000 in just a few years due to fraudulent claims. Without video evidence, businesses often have no choice but to settle, taking the hit to avoid a legal battle. But this time, security footage shut down the scam before it could pay off. Fraud like this, along with rampant shoplifting, hurts everyone. It drives up prices, forces businesses to close, and turns shopping into a frustrating experience with locked cases and constant surveillance. These scams aren't clever or harmless, they're selfish, draining resources and making life harder for everyone else. Society only works when people act in good faith. There's no place for those who prey on businesses and communities for their own selfish benefit. Click to watch one of these next videos.